Well, here we are finally. As you can see, I have most everything laid out. I was trying to decide whether to do the electronics first or put the neck and bridge on first, and the answer is I have to do both because I have to attach the bridge ground wire down to the electronics, and I prefer to put my electronics together outside the body simply because it's easier to reach stuff, and then put it all in pretty much as a block. So I guess I'll do that, run the bridge wire up, and then put the neck and bridge on. But I'm not going to put the pickups in. That's the key to it. I'm only going to mount the controls today so that I can hook that ground wire up. So, as you can see here, oh, I don't think I've shown you my new gadget. This is a helping hand sort of thing that I picked up probably on Amazon. It has 4 of these gooseneck clips that also swivel 360 degrees, and it has this terrific ring light with a magnifying glass, and this is a very, very high quality magnifying glass. I am impressed with it. This has made the stuff I'm doing here so much easier, it's not even funny. So, with that in mind, here's what we have. We have our 3 potentiometers, our controls. Now these things come with a coating on them, and if you want to do any soldering to the case, you have to scrape that off. So I used an especially coarse piece of sandpaper and scrubbed the daylights out of all 3 of them. Now these are all the same value, they're all exactly the same part, so it doesn't matter which one does what as long as they all do their job. I'll be working from this diagram here, but it's going to be pretty easy because with the exception of the capacitor on the tone control, we go boom, 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 boom. Boom. Okay, let me try this again. Because with the exception of the capacitor, we go boom, 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 boom. And that's pretty much it. Then our 2 output wires. Later on, as obviously, we'll hook up the pickups. But right now, this promises to be pretty simple. My capacitor is right here, and this is, I'm assuming, supposed to be the ground wire because it is completely bare. So the first thing I want to do is put the capacitor on, simply because it's a nuisance. But it's a necessary nuisance. So let's get started. So I discovered something interesting about this wire. This is not wire. This is a piece of solder. I feel a little silly, but there was nothing to indicate that they included that. In fact, there was, well, then again, there was nothing to indicate they included any of this stuff, as we know. So let's just get started. I have the capacitor here. What value is it? It doesn't want to tell me. Of course it doesn't. But presumably they know what they're doing. They might be, that might be kind of a big presumption. But yeah, as my buddy as my buddy Irving says, just go with it. Okay, so I'm going to insert that in there like that. Now, I have this wire set up to be the actual bridge ground wire. So the first thing I'll need to do is solder this capacitor into place so it stays put. And may as well do that now. And you know what? Solder does cost money. It's fairly cheap, but it does cost, so I may as well use theirs. All right, we got that in place. And now I'm going to put these two both up here. I'm going to do my best to push them together so that I can tack them both down at the same time. Now, as you can see, stranded wire is doing what stranded wire does, going everywhere and being difficult. So, we need to get that down a little flatter. There we go. They are both touching. So, let's do this while they're being cooperative. The hardest part of this is waiting for the case to heat up and take the solder. This isn't a particularly powerful iron I'm using, so it's going to take a bit. But the nice part is having the help holding everything in place. I can't say enough good things about this thing. There we go. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay, now we get a little more for the capacitor lead. I said it's not cooperating. Get in there. All right. That is a good, solid connection. So, this black wire will serve as the bridge ground wire, but I'm not going to strip this end yet because I don't know how much of it I need, and hence how much of it I need to strip. So I will wait until it's actually in the guitar to determine that. Let's move on to the next step, which is going to be connecting those two together. So this is the wire they sent me. As you can see, it's a solid ribbon. We have 6 colors. White, gray, purple, blue, green, yellow, if anybody cares. No explanation if anyone is supposed to go any particular where. And they are basically long enough to that you can almost get 2 links out of one of them. So, as usual, you can color me confused, but I don't know what to do except just pick a color and go. Now, I measured the distance between the holes on the body, and it was 52 centimeters. So I'm going to try and make these a little bit longer just to allow for some elbow room. And so we'll start by going from this pole here to the center pole over here. And what color should I use? You know what? That's carrying the hot signal, and my wife likes purple. So we'll go with the purple. All right. I just took another look at these instructions and the diagram, and we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires to connect, and that's how many they sent me. So I have to assume that I'm supposed to use a different color for each of these. So that's what we'll do. So we'll start with the purple one. I have both ends stripped, and it's in this lug and ready to go, so we just need to solder it in there. Okay, and there we go. Good. some of it tried to get away there. That's taking a long time to cool. Okay, that's one end. Time to connect up the other end. Cook up is what you get when you can't decide whether you want to say connect up or hook up. It comes out cook up. Just in case you wanted to know that. So now this is going to be the volume control for the bridge pickup. And then we will connect in parallel the control for the neck pickup. That way they both operate all the time. So you can turn one up and turn the other down, or you can turn them both up, or you can turn them both down. You can jump down, turn around, touch the ground. But yeah, it gives you a lot of freedom in how you do this and determining the sound that you want. And not just determining it, but getting it. So, okay, there we go. That is hooked up. Now, the next question is, do I want to go ahead and hook up the next pickup, or do I want to do the other side of this? And I think I'm going to do the other side. So, I think I'll do that in gray just because I'm looking at it. So, be right back. I finally decided that I want to attach everything to this one first and then move along. So what I have here right now going to the case are the ground wire to the next pickup and the one going to the output jack. I decided I want to tack them down in a different place than the other two, just because every time I try to add something to a rig up like that, something falls off. So, 57th time around the block, I realized I can do this. So, here we go. Then, that's nice. You may notice I brought a third hand in here to hold that wire. I can't praise this thing enough. It has made my life so much easier. It is not even funny. Now, this is the hot output, and it needs to go the same place the purple wire is. So, let's melt that down and poke it through. So that sounds vaguely risque, doesn't it? I don't know why, but it feels a little bit like it to me. Maybe I'm just maybe I am just a little too in love with words. So, all right, get enough in there to close the hole on both of them. Okay. Boy, yeah, I seem to be throwing euphemisms around today, don't I? Alrighty, come on, get in there. That's it. Like that. Okay. And that is everything that needs to go on this particular control. So, I will put the other one back up. We will hook up the ground wire, and then we'll move on. So that little piece of solder they sent me got small enough that it was too hot to handle, so I'm using my own now. And honestly, I like my own better anyway. Yeah, get the wire too, thank you. And that's that. Now, I put it over here on this side because I want to leave plenty of room to access the lugs, because our pickup needs to tie in to that middle one. So I wanted to make sure I have a clear path to do that. And except for the pickup, that is almost everything for this one. The only other thing we need to do is add one of the wires to go to the neck pickup control. And so we'll do that now because we can. So now I like to bend a hook into my wire like that when I'm going into a lug, simply because I can poke it through there and then let it drop like that, and it stays put. So that's a little trick from me to you for whatever it's worth. It really does make the task a lot easier. And yeah, I've been using that trick for decades. Because I'm old. Alright, there we go. That is, okay. Once the stupid solder cools, there we go. I don't know why it's taking so long today. That is a little unusual. So, now I just need to hook up the other ground wire here. And then we'll put the third pickup on, and we will connect those to it. And then we'll move on to the output jack. And here we are. That wire is cooperating nicely sitting down there on that body. So let's go ahead and give it its fondest wish. And the two are forever joined. Ain't it romantic? Alright, now we just need to connect this to the outside lug. And that is that. By the way, we're being watched. That's Zelda. I don't know if I caught her or not. I will know later on in editing. So this goes to there, and that's that. Yeah, you know, it's one of the major quirks of English that sentence actually makes sense. Alrighty, we'll get that in there. Sometimes I have issues with depth perception doing this, and to be honest, this magnifying glass doesn't help a lot. Alright, let's try this again. I'm using the magnifying glass right now, by the way. Okay, there we go. Get him back in his clippy doodle. That's the technical term for it, in case you were wondering. And nothing else goes on that lug. So, we will fasten that. I find it interesting that they give you just barely enough wire to pray you don't screw up. And they don't even give you enough solder to finish the job. What a deal. I am not mentioning the name of this company, but I probably won't buy another kit from them. And I'm sure you can imagine why. So now the only other thing I need to do is wire up the output jack. And so let's swing all my hands over there, swing your partner around and round, and yeah, if I can get this little bag open. Okay, the smallest things can make you feel so silly, can't they? All right, there's the jack. And it's very basic, just a 2-wire. So we'll just connect these two wires to it, and this will be ready to go. Then next time we will get the body and we'll run this wire up through it. I will put these in temporarily so that I can do that. But when it comes time to do some of the other stuff, I will probably pull them out so that I can connect the pickups outside the body like this. So, with all that talk, now I'm going to go ahead and do this because this plate comes off. I can undo that nut, and then I can attach this to the guitar from the inside. So I can have it already connected with no problem. That was very kind of them, I admit. So I taped these two together just so I knew who went with what. And so let's connect them. Okay. First, this is the ground. Yes, no it isn't. That's the tip. Okay. Alright. Yeah, this is the ground. Alright. That is, yeah, because that's the body of the jack touching there. So, this one is going to go there. I don't really need the hands for this one. It's pretty straightforward and yeah, almost like working on some of the old transistor and tube radios and stereos that I used to fix for people. So, yeah, best one ever. Sweet little old man. Everybody adored him, including me. He found out that I fixed electronic things. Well, he had this old, enormous cabinet radio, and he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it and why it wouldn't work anymore. I went down there, and I turned the on switch on, and the radio came on. He had forgotten how to turn it on. Am I going to tell him that? No. No. I turned it off again before it started making noise because the tubes hadn't warmed up yet. I had a tube tester of my own at the time. And so I pulled a couple of tubes out, tested them, and put them back in. Took a screwdriver and rattled it around inside the cabinet for a couple of seconds. And then said, now let's try it. And I made sure he watched how I turned it on. And it came on, and he was the happiest little old man in Montana. I mean, how do you tell somebody that? Answer, you don't. And we are finished. All the wiring is done except the pickups. And so this is ready to go into the body, and then the next step will be to put the neck on and get to doing the mechanical part. So until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.